Welcome to Tea with Tanya. I'm your host, Tanya Ambrose, an average millennial navigating life as a maternal health professional, nonprofit founder, and grad student. Join me in the tea tasting room where we spill the tea on finding balance and promoting positive living while doing it all. Hey friend, welcome back to another episode of Tea with Tanya. I am happy to be back here in the tea tasting room with you so we can continue on our health and wellness journey. I hope by the time you listen to this episode this past weekend, you would have done something to pour into you. Because again, we are on our health and wellness journey. For me, I am here sipping on some Ovaltine tea. It's a bit cold outside. It's rainy. It's cozy. And I'm thinking about being back home in Antigua. And for some reason, every time I think about being back in Antigua, I had to think about drinking Ovaltine tea or Milo tea. But tonight is going to be Milo tea. So I am happy to be here sitting with you in the tea tasting room, talking about all things priming your body for pregnancy. I will say, when it comes to priming your body for pregnancy, it's very important for us to understand what that means. Priming your body involves adopting a healthy lifestyle or healthy lifestyle habits, as well as addressing any underlying health issues to optimize fertility and to promote a healthy pregnancy. One of the significant things of planning or priming your body for pregnancy is that preconception health not only increases the chance of conception, but also reduces the risk of pregnancy complications, and it also has to promote the health of both mom and baby as well. A common misconception when it comes to misconception is that fertility is solely determined by one's age. And that is absolutely not true. Of course, there's some factors, but one of the most common misconception is that fertility is solely determined by age. But there are other factors like nutrition, exercise, and stress management that also play a very, very significant role when it comes to priming our bodies for pregnancy. And I'm very excited because, as someone who's very passionate about women's health and maternal and reproductive health and wellness, I'm excited to share or give you some insight into what I've been doing as it relates to priming my body for pregnancy. So if you're someone who you're like me trying to prime your body for pregnancy, or you're trying to conceive, or you're currently pregnant, or you may have had a baby before and you're planning on getting pregnant again, this episode is for you. Because at the end of the day, I want you to be able to set yourself up to have a successful pregnancy so that you are informed, so that you know that you are in charge of your decisions. And you can also, an informed person is always going to be an empowered person as well. So I definitely want you to be informed, because again, an informed person is going to always be empowered when it comes to making decisions about their life and their health and wellness as well, right? But before I get into this episode, I want to definitely put out this disclaimer, because I want to emphasize that the information provided here that I'm sharing with you today in the tea tasting room is only for educational purposes and is based pretty much on my personal experience. So none of what I'm going to be saying to you here should be construed as medical advice, because again, each individual's health situation is unique to them. So any sort of lifestyle changes you may want to make, even though you hear me talking about them, it's very important that you consult with your healthcare provider before making any sort of drastic lifestyle changes, especially if you're like me, planning or priming your body for pregnancy. Because again, your health situation is unique to you, and your healthcare provider can tailor your journey based on your specific needs or circumstances as well. Because again, the journey to parenthood is unique, it's different. So I don't want you to misconstrue what I'm saying here to be medical advice, because it's not. I love you. I'm here to support you. I'm here to ensure that you're educated and empowered, but I am not here, or I'm not in no way, shape, or form giving you any sort of medical advice. I also want to put this disclaimer, because you're not going to go tell your friend and your family that, oh, Tea with Tanya is trying to conceive. That's not the message that I'm also trying to put out. I am priming my body. Priming, like when you have a car, you got settings, you got to put the oil in so the car can continue to run as efficient as it possibly can. That's what I'm doing. I am fueling my body. I am priming this body so that when that time comes, I'll be operating at an optimized health. Okay? So Tea with Tanya is not trying to conceive in this very moment. There's no practicing happening here. I am just simply priming my body because I realized that, I wasn't necessarily taking care of myself in the way that I know how to, because I'm always the caretaker. I'm always hell bent on caring for others or helping others get to their goal. And sometimes I neglect myself. So now, after having certain challenges as it relates to my health, I am now priming my body for pregnancy and also priming this beautiful body for so I can achieve optimal health. All right. Had to put that out there. All right. So when we're talking about understanding the basics of preparing for pregnancy, again, like I mentioned earlier, it involves adopting a healthy lifestyle habits. It also talks about addressing any underlying issues that you may have that could also work towards optimizing your fertility to promote a healthy pregnancy. For me, I would say I'm someone, if you're new here, hi, Tanya is a chronic migraine person at this point. I don't even know what to say at this point. I'm just dealing with chronic migraines and also might be TMI, but I don't think it's chronic constipation. I cannot remember the exact name right now, which is so bad of me. But I'm dealing with that. It's just so many things going on in this body right now that I have to ensure that I am taking care of myself. I will share this story. A few weeks ago, I had my pap smear done for my OBGYN, and I remember that same morning when I woke up to go to the doctor, get my appointment. Because one thing about me, I'm having an early morning appointment. One, because I work full time, and two, I'm just an early morning person. But I remember expressing to her the concern I was having about my stomach and how it was distended, how I feel extra bloated, and I'm like, I'm at this point, I'm not even in the menstrual phase of my cycle. But I was just concerned as to why it shaped the way it shaped and why was it so distended? Because I haven't done anything different than what I was doing. And she did notice it while she was doing my breast exam. And she herself also was a bit concerned. So she asked me if I would be open to having a transvaginal ultrasound because once she wanted to rule out any fibroids or anything. And I'm like, what, fibroids doesn't really run in my family. But what I've come to learn when it comes to healthcare or your health at this point in time, something doesn't have to be significant or prominent in your family for it to occur to you. So I'm like, that wasn't even naive of me for even thinking that. But again, that's the first thing, sometimes you think about what happens, what are some family traits or what happens in your family from a health standpoint. I know that was not one. Nevertheless, she scheduled an appointment. 2 weeks later, I went, and long story short, but to be honest, by the time I got to her, the distended stomach, by the time I got to the 2 week appointment, the distended stomach was a bit non-existent. Still bloated a little bit, but it wasn't the way in which it was that really opened my eyes and made me have a cause for concern. Did the ultrasound, and after that I had the consultation with her based on the results. Her wording was everything is perfect, everything looks great. And we started talking about, okay, so I have a higher chance of being able to get pregnant when I'm ready. She's like, yes, and she started asking me if I'm ready. I said, I didn't say all that on doc, but I'm just asking a question. And then, of course, I had a conversation about her about being off of birth control and giving my body a break and all these different things because I am on my priming my body for pregnancy journey. But like I said, there's no practicing happening here. So at this point, why am I even doing that, But I valued the fact that we have a really good patient-provider relationship. That may not be the case for some because sometimes we're known to hopping out in our doctor's office within 15, 20 minutes and then we're on to the next. But one thing about my OBGYN, she's an advocate for health and wellness. She answers every question. Because to me, one thing about me, I'm going to have a question written down on a piece of paper or it's going to be my phone because I need to know X, Y, Z. Because one thing about me, I'm not a doctor, I'm not trained, but you can't tell me, again, when you know certain things as it relates to women's and reproductive health, of course, again, you're more knowledgeable. So that's why I oftentimes try to have my questions ready so I can ask. I'm not telling you to go have 15 million questions to go ask a provider in one visit. You can have them over a period of time, but any sort of cause or concern you may have about your body, you definitely want to have that conversation with your care provider. Another thing, my other primary care doctor, when I went to her again, dealing with my migraines, dealing with my constipation and all these different things, no matter how much fiber, whatever I'm adding to my diet, it's like it'll work for a week or two, and then we're back to square one. So I remember, again, us thinking that it could be something gastro-related. So I got referred to a gastroenterologist. Finally saw her and had a great session, a great conversation with her as we figured out what would be the next step. So long story short, I'm getting somewhere as it relates to trying to see what could be any underlying issues that's causing some of these things to happen to me. So I can optimize myself. I can have optimal health, but also when it comes to my fertility journey, yes, that part, everything is great over there. And I'll thank the Lord for that. That may not be your situation. So I don't want you to feel any sort of way with me saying that. But when I talk about underlying health issues, I'm not just talking about your reproductive health. You want to check your thyroid. There's so many different things that, again, goes hand in hand when it comes to our reproductive health system. So you want to ensure that you're having these conversations with your primary care provider, right? So with that being said, I want to talk about lifestyle factors for preconception health. And I reached out to my girl Gianna over at the Simply Rise podcast, and she's also a women's and reproductive health educator as well. And I was asking her, I said, because her and I were friends, we became friends from social media. She, like, again, me in social media, she has become like a big sister to me as well. So we often talk about fertility, talk about pregnancy, talk about parenthood, because she's a mama of two boys. I'm over here on the way trying to get to that level at one point in time. And, so before I would ask, I say, I'm trying to prime my body for pregnancy. What do you recommend? Because again, she's in that reproductive health space as well. And the first thing she said that she would do is to start tracking our cycle. So for me, I started tracking my cycle. And, you want to get real granular about what your body is doing and how your hormones are working, how long your cycles are, how do you react to your hormones and the way that they shift, what causes them to shift. Because, sometimes there are some people out there who are dealing with PMDD, and that's premenstrual dysphoric disorder. Sometimes some of us have PMS, like such as bloating, headaches, breast tenderness, so many different things, and our hormones are at play here. So you need to become more in tune with your body so you can know when your hormones are out of whack or when something feels abnormal or something doesn't feel right with you. We're going to go have that conversation with our care provider, because we're living in a day and age in society where we cannot take anything for granted. We cannot take anything lightly. Even if you have a pain in your finger, that could be related to something else. So you definitely want to ensure that you are having that patient-provider relationship or provider-patient relationship with your primary care provider, because that's going to be very important when it comes to these lifestyle factors, right? Also, nutrition plays a very big role when it comes to priming your body for pregnancy. You want to pay attention to what you're eating. So you want to have a nutritious diet that's going to be rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains and lean protein, because these provide essential vitamins and minerals that is necessary for reproductive health. You want to become more intentional about meat with added hormones. You want to avoid these different things because, of course, any added hormones cannot be good for the body. You want to remove anything that could cause undue or any sort of inflammation in your body. An example of that is also alcohol. So, we got to be mindful of what we're consuming and what amount of foods that could cause inflammation in the body that we're consuming as well. Another thing that I've been doing, one thing about me, like I say, I do try to eat my fruits and vegetables, but I'm more of a fruit eater versus the vegetables. But I've been doing better with that because for some reason, I don't know why, but I'm more of a fruit girl. Like the texture, the taste and everything is just for me. But I have been doing well when it comes to incorporating the fruits, vegetable, and of course whole grains, because, I got to make sure that every part of my body is functioning the right way. I become one of those girlies that I'm all about my fruits. I'm all about my vegetables. I'm making sure that I am eating my whole grains because, everything ties to one. So you got to eat one, you got to eat the other so that you can make sure that you are optimizing your health, especially your reproductive health. I've become a gym girly. I mean, I would say I was one last year, but I wasn't as consistent or committed. But when it comes to having any sort of regular physical activity, that's going to help to improve circulation. It helps to regulate hormones, reduce stress, and also it can have an impact on fertility in a very positive way. When we talk about reduced stress, for me, I look forward to my workouts. I work out 3 times a week now, and I look forward to that every time because for some reason, I could be having a bad day or I could be having a very stressful day because, life happens. And the minute I start working out, it's like that 1 hour just removes all the stress that I've been having all day, or even at the end of the workout, whatever was bothering me prior walking into the workout. I won't say it doesn't bother me anymore, but it's like I find some sort of coping mechanism or some sort of way or some sort of solution to what may have been stressing me out. So I definitely look forward to my workouts 3 times a week. And of course, I do my walking. So, when I say about regular physical activity, it doesn't have to be, I'm not telling you to go to the gym and lift a 45-pound, whatever. I'm just, you want to just be physical. Like I tell my clients who are pregnant, you want to walk around the block, you want to walk up and down the street where you are, just to get some sort of regular physical activity to just help improve your circulation and just reduce any sort of stress so you can feel good. Sometimes we underestimate the power of the sun or just being outside or being outdoors. It's very, very important that we do that. We also want to think about looking at our sleep and stress management, prioritizing adequate sleep and practicing any sort of stress management techniques like meditation or even a yoga or journaling they can help to optimize your hormonal balance and support fertility as well. So, as simple as it may sound, getting adequate sleep or practicing any sort of meditation, yoga, journaling, it is important. It really is important to help optimize and support your fertility as well. I do want to talk about eliminating harmful habits. Now, for me, everybody's idea of what a harmful habit can be would be very, very different. But we talk about avoidance. You want to avoid smoking. You want to avoid excess alcohol consumption and recreational drug, because it is crucial that they can also impair fertility and increase the risk of pregnancy complications. So you definitely, like we always say, everything in moderation. When we talk about caffeine intake, I know some of you are coffee girlies. I'm a tea girl. Sometimes most of my tea, some teas having caffeine as well, but I try to avoid anything that is heavily caffeine based. But while a moderate intake of caffeine is considered generally safe, any sort of high consumption of caffeine has been linked to decreased fertility. So it's very important that you limit your caffeine intake while you're trying to conceive, while you're priming your body for pregnancy. I know some of us are caffeine addicts, or we just like, oh my God, I gotta have my coffee in the morning. Just again, do everything with moderation and be mindful and remember what is the goal at hand. When we talk about weight now, maintain a healthy weight throughout this time is very, very important. You want to have a balanced diet. You want to exercise on a regular, because these can improve your fertility outcomes. And I talk about, maintaining a healthy, balanced diet. I will say, one time I was talking to a doctor. She's from Jamaica, but lives in Minnesota, doing great work over there. And I remember having her on my Instagram live, and I asked her, again, we from the Caribbean, she from Jamaica, me from Antigua, whatever the case may be. And I was like, our food sometimes is heavily starch based, but one thing I can remember, we always had some sort of vegetable at the side to eat with our food. But I'm like, you're here and you're trying to conform to these people who may be shaming you for not being on a particular type of diet. It's like, I'm from Antigua, honey. I need to be eating my food. I need to be eating my rice and chicken. I need to be having my fried fish, my fungi and starfish, all these different things I need to have. And I remember her telling me, it's okay to eat your cultured food. We just got to ensure that it's balanced. You want to have fruits, you want to have your vegetables. So if you want to eat your little, at the time she was like, if you want to eat a little Jamaican, what you say, jerk chicken and rice and peas, make sure you have a salad at the side. So for me, if I need to eat my fungi and starfish or my whatever it is, I need to have some sort of vegetable at the side to ensure that I'm having a somewhat or a balanced diet, of course. So definitely want to ensure that you're getting all the minerals and vitamins from these different food. Because again, growing up, we had the food, the food pyramid. I think I'm hoping I'm saying the right thing. But, we had the different types of food, like, the legumes, the fiber. The key is to maintain a balanced diet and for us to get moving, active. You can walk up and down. Whatever you do, there's some sort of regular movement and exercise to help as well. We talk about preconception, health checkups, and tests. In a previous episode, I talk about healthcare screenings that you should be making time for. You want to schedule a visit with your healthcare provider specifically to talk about preconception, so you can have a comprehensive assessment done of your health and be able to identify any sort of potential concerns that could happen. You want to be having these essential screenings, test for your blood, test for genetic screenings, any sort of reproductive health assessment that you can have. You definitely should be doing that so you can identify any underlying issues. Talk about managing any medical conditions that you may have, any chronic medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, and thyroid disorders before conception, because this can also help to improve your fertility outcome. Because everything in our body, from the head to the toe, it just like a car, we got to put gas in the car. We got to make sure our brake pads are good. We got to make sure that we have oil in the car. We got to make sure we have the water in the car for that. The windshield wiper. These different things to keep the car functioning and fueling in the right way. It's the same thing you should be doing when it comes to your body. You want to ensure that you're getting everything checked to ensure that you are optimizing yourself from a holistic standpoint. And I know I'm talking about priming that body for pregnancy, but when you're at your best self, when you're healthy, that priming your body, this is all a part of priming your body for pregnancy. It's about priming your body for you to have optimal health as well. So I don't want you to just think, you should be only be doing these things just to prime your body for pregnancy. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you should just be doing this to ensure that you are holistically healthy, but also while doing that, you can also prime. That's also a way for you to prime your body for you to have a great pregnancy and a higher chance of conceiving as well. I know if you know about pregnancy or anything as it relates to being healthy, there are different supplements and vitamins for preconception health. Supplements such as folic acid and vitamin D and iron are commonly recommended to support fertility and promote a healthy pregnancy. There's a lot more, and I'll put some resources in the show notes as well for you to look at. But again, you're going to have to make sure that you consult with your primary care provider. Because for me, I am taking my anxiety medication. I'm taking my 2 different migraine medication. I'm taking 2 different medication as it relates to my GI. So I have to now ensure that the new vitamins and supplements that I'm going to be taking as well, there's not going to be any sort of adverse reaction to what I'm taking. So that's very important. I know sometimes we might be on social media, it could be on Google, and somebody will tell you, "Oh, I've been taking this particular supplement of vitamin 2 because I'm trying to conceive an XYZ." Again, all good and well, but you have to ensure that you are consulting with your healthcare provider to ensure that it is safe and appropriate for you to take these supplements and vitamins, especially as an individual of childbearing age as well. So it's very, very important that you pay attention and you ask these questions before taking anything on. The environment also can play into how good or preconception health can be, or the negative reaction it could have on that as well. You want to minimize your exposure to any sort of environmental toxins such as pesticides, pollutants, or any sort of chemical, because these can also affect, your pregnancy or your opportunity or your chance. You want to ensure that you're taking notice of these things so that you can help to protect your fertility and promote a healthy pregnancy. You want to use something such as natural cleaning products, avoiding plastics containing BPA, choosing organic produce, and also reduce any sort of exposure to any harmful substances. Now, I'm saying this to you, but let me tell you, we live in a society, we live in a world right now that every week I go to the grocery store, whatever, it's like something has gone up either by $1, 10, like it's just the price of food, everything is just increasing right now. So, even I'm encouraging you to try natural cleaning products or organic produce. That may not be your case from a financial standpoint. You just do the best that you can. Again, because at the end of the day, we are not living the same life. Some of us may not be able to afford these organic foods or afford these natural cleaning products, because even the not organic food are already expensive as it is. So can you imagine the organic? So you just want to make sure that you're doing everything in moderation, but doing the best that you can to minimize being exposed to any harmful substances or produce or anything like that. But again, key here is for you to do the best that you can with what you have. But of course, our environment can definitely have an impact on our fertility and our overall health as well. So be mindful of your surroundings, because that's going to be very, very important, very crucial during this priming your body phase for pregnancy and of just for your overall health as well. And before I wrap up, I also want to talk about the emotional and mental preparation that comes with priming your body for pregnancy. So I'm a woman in my 30s. I can't believe I'm even saying that out loud. I in the back of my mind, guys, I thought I was going to be married and have at least 5 kids by now. But I thought I was going to be married by age 23. I don't know what I was thinking, but, wishful thinking, I guess. But I'm getting older, and the shift that's happening in my life, in my current phase of life, it caused me to really be more intentional with who I give my time to, what I put in my body, because again, I know at the end of that finish line, whatever the goal may be, my goal is to be ready for pregnancy, ready to bring my child into this world. And that also has to do with our emotional health as well, because it's very important that we address and acknowledge any sort of emotional aspects that comes with starting a family. That could be a feeling of excitement. Am I excited to be pregnant one day? I sure am. Is there some sort of apprehension? Yes, given the world that we're living in, of course. And of course, uncertainty. So as a person who is priming their body or trying to conceive or pregnant or pregnant to want another baby, whatever the case may be, it's pretty much okay for you to check in with your feelings. And also you can have a feelings of excitement. You may have some apprehension. You may have some uncertainty. I'm telling you that is perfectly fine, because I don't want us to get too caught up in, of course, being pregnant and being able to conceive is a very, very, very big blessing that no one should ever take for granted. We should always show gratitude for that. But it's also okay if you feel excited, sad, apprehension, whatever, uncertain. All these other emotions too are also normal. It's just the way in which you manage and you work towards balancing that emotional aspect as well. But I want you to know that these feelings, perfectly fine. You talk about stress management, managing your stress by doing relaxation techniques, therapy, or any sort of support groups. When we talk about having support, having a community, having our village, is very important because these will help with alleviating any anxiety that you may have, any stress, and it also helps to promote, your emotional well-being during this time. So definitely want to lock into that. And of course, communication. Like I always tell my clients or the people who I'm close with, open and honest communication with your partner, with your village, with your community, about your hopes, even your fears, or even your expectations. That is going to help to create a supportive and understanding relationship with your partner, with your family members, whoever it is that makes up your village. It's going to foster that strong relationship and understanding because you're able to be open and honest. You can be happy to be pregnant and you can also be sad at the same time because you know what? You got to think about, wow, I got to bring a human into this world. I have to do every single thing. It's fine. If you didn't have any fear, I would be concerned. I'm like, okay, girl, you got this. But of course, it brings a many different range of emotion. So you definitely want to prepare mentally and emotionally while you're on this phase. And again, like I said, with me priming my body for pregnancy, I'm going to my therapy. I'm finding other techniques or other things to do to maybe not be on social media all the time or just to pour into me because I'm used to pouring into others. Because one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to read a book. I'm going to watch me some TV. All I need is just some internet, my phone or my TV and a book. And I'm content with where I am sometimes, So you definitely got to see what works for you from an emotional and mental standpoint as well. And yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been really working on achieving holistic health, optimizing my health because again, I want to ensure when it's time for me to start trying to conceive. Because like I mentioned earlier, Tea with Tanya is not trying to conceive. Okay, she's just priming her body to achieve optimal health and priming her body for pregnancy as well. So they both go hand in hand. So I want to let you know as I get ready to go by prioritizing preconception health through your healthy lifestyle habits. You want to have regular checkups and have open communication with your village, with your provider. You can definitely optimize your chances of conceiving and enjoying a healthy pregnancy. Remember that pregnancy or preparing for pregnancy, priming your body for pregnancy is a journey that's unique to you. So I want to encourage you to be patient, to be kind, and to give yourself grace along the way. Because let me tell you, I'm not always perfect. All I had today, and I'm so embarrassed to even say this because I worked out today. I had 2 boiled eggs this morning before I went to work out. Then I had cereal twice today because I just did not feel like cooking. I didn't even feel like putting the food in the microwave that I had from leftover. It was just bad. But am I giving myself grace? I absolutely am because again, depending on my feeling, I didn't feel like doing that. But sometimes I will say there are days when I don't feel like doing something, but I do push myself to do it. And once I do it, I end up feeling good. But today, it's just one of them days because of where I am in my menstrual cycle, my menstrual phase. But don't be like me. I only have 2 boiled eggs and cereal twice in the day. You want to have a healthy, hearty meal. But I share that with you to let you know that sometimes some days are just going to not be the same. And it's okay. You have to just be patient, be kind, and definitely give yourself grace along the way. So if you found today's episode helpful, if you want to continue this conversation, you know where to find me over at Tea with Tanya Podcast, or you can send me an email. Share your experience. You may not be thinking that. You may be thinking, okay, I'm on this health and wellness journey, but you may not be thinking of it as a priming your body for pregnancy because that's not the only thing that we're doing. We're trying to have optimal health. But if I said something that sparked your interest, or if there's something that you wish I mentioned, or you want to have that conversation with me, please hop into my DM because I've been loving the DMs that I've been getting and the WhatsApp messages that I've been getting over the last few episodes. I really do look forward to it. It makes my day because you're actually listening. But the conversations that we're able to have, it really does warms my heart. So definitely if I miss something, again, remember what I shared wasn't any medical advice. It was just me sharing my experiences and sharing some of the things that I've been doing and will continue to do as I continue to work on my health and wellness, but also priming my body for pregnancy. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. I will see you next week in the tea tasting room where we're going to be talking about stress management during the reproductive years. And I'll be joined by a very special guest for that episode. So I will see you back here in the tea tasting room. And remember to do something that's going to make yourself proud this week. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Tea with Tanya. If you like this episode, be sure to share it with a friend. Don't forget to follow on Instagram at Tea with Tanya Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the weekly Tea Talk newsletter. And of course, rate on Apple or Spotify and subscribe wherever you listen. See you next time. I love you for listening.